Hey there! Before we start today's episode, we wanted to alert you to our new product of the week.
Pow!
Pow! We have started Wolt Place, W-O-L-T Place. Wolt Place is a support group for women based on Facebook, and you can find out more about it if you head over to
weonlylookthin.com. Click on the link at the top of the page that says join our support group. We've got lots more information there.
Yeah, so join us if you want friendship, fellowship, and what's another F that they could get?
Fun!
Yay! So yeah, find out more. And here
now
goes
it's time to start the show.
Now it's time to start the show. Pow! Hello, and welcome to an Oscar-worthy performance of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel, and I have lost 150 pounds. And with me today in his breakout performance as a man who has lost 100 pounds is...
Donald Weigel. And I am acting.
Genius.
Yes, acting. Genius. It's kind of like that John Lovitz character.
Thank you.
Thank you. Acting.
Man,
genius.
We love old-timey Saturday Night Live. We don't know who's on today. Don't ask us.
I know. I haven't watched it in years, but man, I used to watch it every week.
Speaking of the 80s, we're back in the 80s. We're going
We
with the
are
80s.
back in the 80s, just barely. The movie was in 1989. We're going to discuss My Left Foot.
My left foot. Not Don's left foot, my left foot. I'm ironically looking at Don's
We're
left
actually going
foot.
to talk about a movie that I've seen. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I may have, but I don't know.
The focus of this episode is My Left Foot. We're going to not tell you what that means exactly, but...
It's coming.
Daniel Day-Lewis was in a movie, 1989. We'll talk about it more in a bit.
We will, but first we're going to start with a tip of the week.
Tip of the week!
Ciao,
everybody!
And then we're going to get on to the foot part. You know what? We better explain this episode to your sister before we talk about it because she hates feet. Like,
I know.
She doesn't even like that she has them herself.
No.
But Melissa, this episode might not be for you. Warning, if you don't like feet.
I wonder what that's about, like, thinking about it, because I hate so many kinds of footwear. Like, what is it
he's
about...
very opinionated.
What is it about our upbringing that you know, I'm so particular about people's shoes?
He's very
Drives
particular
me-
about
Not
shoes.
that I'm like some fashion plate either, but...
I took pictures of your sister's babies when they were little. Cute little pictures of toesies.
The babies when they were little, as opposed to the babies when they were big.
Okay, everybody calm down. No, but I took little close-ups of like their little, you know, this little piggy went to market, and your sister was like, "What fresh hell is this?
Yeah,
I don't want
exactly.
feet pictures." I was like, but they're so tiny and cute.
I think to satisfy the Apple police, we should say, "What fresh heck is this?"
Oh, sorry. What fresh heck? We're a clean family loving show. So sorry about that, little kids. If you just heard a word that you don't know what it means,
I
and
might
now
have
you're
to cut
afraid.
it out anyway.
Okay, we'll just cut it out. We'll cut it all out.
Here, say what fresh heck is this?
What fresh heck is this?
Okay, good. I'll cut that in.
Okay, should I do it? What fresh heck is this? Like, do it 5 different ways?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it in post.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure
Anyway,
it out.
tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
We've lost half the listening audience at this point. So this is a little bit of an unusual tip. And it's perhaps not exactly a tip even, but I recently read a Stephen King novella called Elevation. And when I went into it, I had no idea, but the story is sort of, I don't even know if it's accidentally is the right word, but it is a lot about being on the scale obsessively. It is a lot about avoiding the scale obsessively. And it is a lot about the number that is on the scale meaning something. And if you're somebody who doesn't even want to know the plot of this story for fear of spoilers,
matter.
maybe skip ahead a little bit. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am going to talk about the plot of it. So essentially, the basic story is this man who had been gaining a bunch of weight as he got older into his 40s,
Did he get diabetes? And was he married to a very pretty lady? Or is this about you, Donald? Or
no.
are you pretending it's a...
No. This novella, by the way, was published in October of last year, so it's pretty new. And it's not horror at all, by the way. I know you hear Stephen King, and a lot of times you hear horror, but there is some maybe supernatural sort of fantasy elements to it. But and he had gained a bunch of weight and was avoiding the scale a lot.
Who does that?
Yeah. And then he just started feeling lighter and decided to eventually get on the scale, and he looked outwardly exactly the same, but was losing weight. And his body did not change. His outward appearance didn't change at all, but nearly every time he stepped on the scale, he was down more weight. And the story is, it's hopeful and sad, and it is really largely about both those things, scale avoidance and scale obsession. And it's about, what do you do if the scale says you're losing weight, but the world around you is still reacting to you? Like many people still refer to him, his front porch, like his belly hanging over his belt, and still treat him and are very mean to him in terms of him, but he keeps feeling lighter and lighter, in his life. And it really speaks to me about how the scale is just this arbitrary number. It just measures what we've decided weight should be. And really, perhaps what I'm getting at, and I'm getting a little deep and philosophical.
What's the tip of the week?
Focus a little less on the number that's on the scale, and focus a little more about how you feel and how
that's a big one.
And how you think about yourself. And I think that without spoiling the story, I think the story talks a lot about that. And I don't know if Stephen King meant it to be a story about, it's obviously a story about weight loss, but I don't know if he meant it to be a story about that, but that's the way I took it. And I think it's worth checking out. It's pretty short, 144 pages. I actually listened to the audiobook, which he reads himself. It's only about 4 hours long. And really, I guess the tip here is, focus more about how you feel than what the scale actually says.
Well, and I think too, it's funny, Donald is wearing a Mars shirt, not the Mars bar, but the Mars planet. If you've heard of it, it's one of our planets, one of our favorite planets. We went to the planetarium, and they have these scales for each planet. Like, what would you weigh on the moon? What would you weigh on Neptune? What would you weigh on Mars? And I would never weigh myself on Earth in front of other people at the planetarium, but the one, whatever planet it was, I don't do research. But on one, it's like, oh, you're 1/10 the weight that you are here on this planet. And I was like, well, it must be nice to live on Pluto. Like, boy, if I only lived on Pluto, then my weight would be fine. And it's like,
yeah, your body would still be exactly the same no matter what
effect
gravity actually had on you. But yeah, it a lot of it is psychological. Like, and I'm even now, after all this time, still coming to grips with what difference does the number on the scale make at a certain point? Like, I've been hovering, I've been going up and down for the last year and a half within about a 5-6 pound range, and even now, after all of this, when I'm towards the top of that range, it makes me upset. And when I get towards the bottom of that range, I get happier. And it's this real sort of, I'm just working on this realization now of trying to just, okay, this is just it. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if I'm at the top of the range or the bottom of the range, if I still feel really good, that 5 pounds doesn't really make that much of a difference.
Well, and also because so much of it is mindset in the direction that you're going in, like, you've been hitting your calorie deficit, you've been hitting your steps, you're doing all of the actions to make you feel good. And you've been saying, like, wow, I feel really great. Like, I feel like I'm in really good shape. And if other people don't notice that, or if other people don't, like, you're working on a new job and they don't know that you only look thin and you're not getting the accolades, like, really how you feel, how mobile you are, how you're sticking to your goals. Like,
yeah, I
all
started
of that
a new
matters.
job recently, and I haven't come out about my weight, as Rebecca would say, to anybody there. So it's interesting.
But anyway, so focus on what you can control. Focus on your actions and the number on the scale. Whether you're on the fine planet of Mars or Earth, as we like to call it, just focus on what you can control. So that is our tip of the... I think that was a tip of the week.
That was a tip of the week.
Tao!
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
And that sort of ties in, saying tip o' the week to you, like sort of ties into the fact that we're talking about my left foot.
How? Because
the gentleman that Daniel Day-Lewis portrayed in the movie was Irish.
Oh.
Christy Brown.
Wow. This is so terrible. Speaking of the 80s, I was at Target the other day and I was buying something and a guy behind me was buying like 40 bars of Irish Spring soap, which I didn't even know was still a thing. Like, do you remember those awful commercials
they
where
used to slice into it and you could see the stripes all the way
all
through?
Green, and
yeah.
then, like, for some reason, like, it would spray water out. Like, the bar would spray water, and it was...
I don't really remember that one.
Some cultural appropriation of the fine people of Ireland, but it was very odd to see. Like, what is he doing with all the soap? I want to know. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Apparently, Catherine hates cleanliness. That's what we've learned.
No, but he said tip of the week. So what? So my left foot. What was it about?
It was about a gentleman named, and my memory's a little hazy on it. I had to Google a little bit about it just before we did this, but Daniel Day-Lewis plays a guy, and I guess there was a book too, named Christy Brown, who was born with cerebral palsy. He was born into a very poor family, and he not only managed to overcome, growing up in a dirt poor family, but managed to overcome the fact that he couldn't really use either of his arms or his right leg. He only had his left foot to work with, and he became a famous painter and author. And so I have all of the use of all of my limbs and have not managed to become a famous painter or author thus far.
Way to go, Donald. So... my left foot. This episode is really about literally my left foot.
This is actually about Catherine's left foot. That's where this whole thing, we're circling it back around.
We are. We keep trying to come up with episode titles, and so here we go. So we have talked sort of about mindset and using the resources that you have. And a few episodes ago, I don't remember what episode it is. We have so many great ones, but we talked
so many great ones.
We talked about like winter is coming was one episode, like planning for things that you can't imagine. The best time to plan for hard times is now when things are going well. So my left foot here.
We even had I believe we had a tip of the week not that long ago about planning for injury.
Planning for injury. Here it comes.
Did you do it?
I did actually.
Okay, good.
So on Thursday is very dramatic. Here it comes.
It's Sunday as we record this, by the way.
On Thursday, I was walking to the kitchen. And suddenly, I felt like there were daggers stabbing my left foot. My left foot.
Oh, man. I left my dagger collection out in the middle of the carpet again.
It was as though I suddenly had stepped on a very sharp Lego. And it's happened before, actually. Like, I moved my foot a weird way.
Yeah.
Who knows? So it's happened before. I didn't pay it much attention. Kept going. Turns out, all the day long, it was getting worse, and then I couldn't stand on my left foot very well. And then I thought, okay, I'll just ice it, and it'll be fine. And then so the next day came, and it was still kind of hurting, and but I was wearing my sneakers. As long as I kind of tilted my foot in a different way and didn't step on that part of my foot,
None
it was
of this
okay.
Sounds good.
So day 3 comes along, and I did a little bit of WebMDing research about my left foot and thought I might know what it was. I got a little bit defeated and went down a spiral of, I guess I just have a right foot now.
Diagnosis negative.
Negative.
Dr. Webb, MD.
So on Saturday morning, we were going to go on a walk, and it still hurt.
We actually started out on the walk.
We started out on the walk.
Because that's what we do. It's all we do.
And
you can't stop us. You can't reason with, apparently you can stop us.
So I put on my shoe. I was like, oh, as long as I like bias my foot the other way and compensate, I'll be okay. And we got about 700 feet like steps from the house.
Yeah.
And I was in so much pain that I almost started crying. And I felt like a failure. I felt like a weight loss imposter. I felt like I was letting Donald down.
So luckily I had listened to Roger, the personal trainer, and I slung Catherine over my shoulders.
Like a refrigerator.
And ran her back home.
Oh my God. Being picked up is my worst nightmare. Like, don't pick me up, please.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about with Roger, there's another episode about Roger, the personal trainer, who insisted that fitness had to involve lifting refrigerators and running miles for medicine. Yeah,
running miles for medicine. So anyway, Saturday, crying on a street corner. I decided to walk back home because I was in too much pain. And I decided that I needed to just go home and wallow in self-pity. But then I remembered how inspiring we are and what we tell other people to do.
So inspiring.
I was feeling a lot of self-pity. And then I decided, because we've been working on this for years, that I needed to focus on what I could control, not what I could not control. My left foot really hurts. I went to the doctor and found out that I believe it is something called Morton's neuroma. And I need to see a podiatrist this week.
Yep.
But instead of feeling sorry for myself and sitting on the couch, I looked at my right foot that was lonely and sad and neglected. And I said, thank you, right foot, for working right now. And I thought to myself, what can I control? What can I do right now? And this episode is about focusing again on what you can do and diversifying your resources, not focusing on what you can't do. And this is a real life happening now example. So I came home, felt sorry for myself for a couple minutes, and then thought to myself, you know what? I've been doing the Blogilates Summer Sculpt Challenge for the last month and a half.
You have.
And you know what I can do? I can work on my arms today. I can do the 30-minute workout video. I can modify all the moves on my knees, just like I tell the fine listeners of the We Only Look Thin podcast.
Yeah.
And so yesterday I did the Blogilates arm workout, and I felt really satisfied with myself.
Yeah.
I focused on what I could control. I gave my foot a rest. And I also got yoked in the process.
She's so ripped.
In one day. And we talk about this, when times are good, we can podcast about like, oh, okay, everybody, just focus on the positive, like no stinking thinking. But when you're actually in it, and
it's really hard. I mean, and the me of several years ago, my instincts were always just, well, I can't do this one thing I like. I guess I should give up and do nothing.
And it's so easy, even as an inspiring weight loss mogul, to feel self-pity. And in the moment when a crisis occurs in your life, whether it's a family situation, a job loss, a death in the family, a best friend moves away. Like, there are so many ways that we get derailed from living our best or most normal life. And so we want to talk again today about all the different parts of our lives that can be affected by a big left foot. And a moderately sized left foot.
Is the problem that the left foot is too big?
No, it's right sized.
Oh, okay.
It's right sized. But we can feel sorry for ourselves, or we can feel overwhelmed in the moment when something in our life is derailed. And we want to re-impress upon you the importance of diversity in your life. Not putting all of your proverbial left feet in one basket.
That was really gross.
All right, okay. I came up with a new term. Putting all your eggs in one basket. Don't put them all in one basket.
Yeah, because if you did that and you fell, they would all break. So if you put them in different baskets, maybe only half of them would break.
Is that what that analogy actually is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you put all your eggs in one basket. If you drop that basket, then all your eggs break.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. Where We're learning things.
I'm dishing out knowledge here.
What other things do you know that I don't know?
I don't know.
Tell me now.
They could fill books with things you don't know.
They could. So
they have filled books with things I don't know.
So before we get into the bigger picture of diversifying your many aspects of your life, I want to state sort of my current situation and how it is affecting my goals and my life. So my left foot hurts. I cannot really walk on it very well. I have to wear shoes a certain way. I have to walk at a much slower pace than I'm used to.
I mean, and walking is your primary exercise.
That's my primary exercise.
Mine too. Like if I couldn't do it, I would be fairly heartbroken about it. And I have to admit.
And I'm still pretty heartbroken about it. I know I'm yucking it up, talking about feet in baskets, but it's...
Oh my God, you didn't have to bring it up twice.
Replace it with eggs. I'll just say eggs a few times, a few different ways.
Sounds good.
Eggs.
I'll edit the audio later.
But here is the truth about my foot situation. I cannot walk, but what I can do is modified exercises on my abs, my arms, my core. Like, I can focus on other parts of my body.
You could probably also go swimming if you wanted to.
I could go swimming. I could ride a recumbent bike. There are so many parts, just because 5% of my body is not working right now, I have other parts that I can control.
Yeah, I mean, and, if you have depending on the nature of your injury, and if you have a gym membership, you could possibly even do like a rowing machine or like an elliptical, maybe even with a foot injury.
Yeah, you can go swimming, do water aerobics. We have a pool, so I might actually dip in the pool a little bit later. It's going to be in the 90s today.
And it's not aerobic, but maybe try out some weightlifting, a little bit of that, just to, keep a base coat of fitness on.
Base coat of fitness. But here is the raw fact of it, and I look thin. But if I don't move as much, if I don't burn as many calories, sad news, I need to eat fewer calories.
Oh, boy.
If I am not getting 17,000 steps a day, yesterday I think I got like 3,000. If I keep eating...
I got less steps. I got fewer steps by proxy yesterday also.
Yeah.
Because we didn't go on our walk together. Sympathy, not steps.
He started limping just because I was limping.
Oh my goodness, it's terrible.
But the cold hard fact is, if I am not burning as many calories, I cannot eat as many calories. If I keep eating commensurate with how much I was moving before the injury, I will start gaining weight. And yesterday, coming to the realization that fewer steps equals fewer calories,
it's sad science.
It's science. But luckily, I've been working on this long enough to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to eat less. I cannot indulge like I would if I was burning as many calories as I was. So keeping that in mind, dear listener, that I still am subject to the laws of science and calorie burn.
But really, our big point here is that it's important to diversify, to not put all of your eggs in some bizarre foot basket.
Ew. When you say it, it sounds really bad.
So, Catherine, I believe, has some F's she wants to discuss with you.
I do. So, thinking about your entire life, I have many F's to give you right now. So, there are so many parts of our lives where we have, all of our hopes and dreams in one place, whether it's fitness, food, family, friendship, femur for some reason. I couldn't think, if you can think of any other healthy F word.
Foot bone?
Foot bone. But then in work, if you have a job and you put...
I got an F for work.
It's
not suitable for all audiences, though.
No, but there are so many parts of our lives. If you have a job and you lose your job, and your job is everything to you, if you don't have any other parts of your life that you're investing in and you lose your job, suddenly your whole world implodes. Gretchen Rubin, actually, she's got 40 million episodes. Go listen to one of them.
Our good friend Gretchen.
Good friend Gretchen. On her podcast called Happier, she talks about diversifying your life, because the more diverse interests you have, the more diverse relationships you have, the less of an impact there is when one of them starts to falter.
It happens to a lot of parents too. The empty nest syndrome that parents put all their lives into their kids, and then their kids move out on their own, and they just don't know what to do with themselves. They suffer, terrible depression and feel lost without their kids. And look, I haven't experienced that yet. Our kid is very, very much still in the nest. But trying to develop some interests and really take care of yourself while you're still taking care of your kids, I think may help to prevent that.
So I'm going to go down the list of Fs.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
So fitness. Imagine if you have your favorite class at the gym, or your favorite trainer, or your favorite machine, and one of them goes away. The gym closes, your trainer leaves, or you get to the gym and somebody else is using your favorite machine.
Yeah.
There is a big instinct to go, well, what am I going to do now? Like, oh, now I can't do anything.
I may as well just do nothing.
I might as well do nothing. What am I going to do? Get used to coming up with a menu list of options of things that you can do, so that not all of your hopes and dreams are resting upon that one machine, that one gym, that one place. You can't afford the gym. What can you do? Can you get a rebounder? Can you walk at the mall? Can you swim at the community pool? Be an advocate for yourself and not a victim of a change of circumstance. If your favorite trainer leaves, come up with other resources.
Yeah.
It's so important to be a champion of your choices.
If you can't exercise your upper body, can you exercise your lower body? If
that
you
comes
can't
in with
do
femur.
Your lower body, do your upper body.
We're going to talk about that at the femur. We're just talking about fitness right now.
I'm jumping ahead.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Don't do it. So food. My favorite, they stopped selling my favorite ice cream at the grocery store.
What? That's an outrage.
Now I can't. I'm just going to eat whatever now, because now that ice cream is gone. Donald has a theory that any food that he likes,
anything that I like, any new product that a store starts having, or like the week I try it, the following week is when the store decides to stop carrying it.
And he's vegetarian, so say there was like Smart Life or Light Life or something like that, had a delicious low-calorie vegan hot dog. And what did they start doing with it?
They
stopped selling it.
Yeah. Garden Burger used to sell the best vegetarian hot dog I've ever had, and they haven't sold it in years now.
But there was a time...
Shortly after I discovered it, they quit making it.
There was a time at which Donald thought that the food industry actually was like... conspiring against him.
I think the grocery stores use my club card, and anytime it's scanned and they're like, oh, it's a new product, we've got to stop carrying that.
So Donald only carries cash right now. He's living off the grid. He doesn't want the stores to know what hot dogs he prefers, or what mustards they stop selling.
Yeah, exactly.
It all conspires against him. But the world isn't out to get you.
No, it's not actually.
Big Mustard is not out to ruin your condiment life. So come up.
I would never say anything bad about Big Mustard.
No, he likes mustard. But if they
Big Pickle.
If they stop selling a product, find other products that you enjoy. At restaurants, I went to a restaurant the other day. There was a salad that was on the menu that I knew the calorie count for. They stopped selling it.
Yeah, I'm still mourning a particular sandwich at a particular restaurant that they stopped making.
But don't put all of your happiness into one salad bowl. Like I decided on a different salad.
Wow, I really like that. Don't put all your happiness into one salad bowl.
I tried to not have feet buckets anymore.
Oh, you did it again.
I can't stop myself. Just bleep it out.
Yeah.
Put one of those slide whistle sounds over and pew. There is actually a podcast that does that, and it makes me want to punch everyone on the podcast.
Okay, I'm not doing it then.
But if something, if the restaurant changes the menus, if they stop carrying the product, come up with other things that you like. Like, don't just suddenly throw all your habits out the window just because they stop selling the hot dog. Donald talked about the family, the empty nest situation. And not to go talk to us in 5 years when we actually have an empty nest, and we'll see how much I'm crying. But our jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you want to say something?
No, I was just saying, I just told you recently about the fantasy I have, like somebody we know was complaining about empty nest syndrome, and I have this fantasy of watching our daughter drive away and, her car's all packed, and then we just come inside and don't stop drinking for a week.
We just drop, there's balloons, there's confetti.
Yeah, we have a dance party, and just the two of us.
A right-footed dance party.
Yeah,
Who knows if
just
I'll
the
be
right
able to walk.
foot.
But and there's a podcast called Beyond Burnout that actually talks about empty nest syndrome in particular. They have an episode on that, but in terms of family, if a family member moves to another state, with empty nest syndrome in particular, your job as a parent is to get the child out of the house. That's the job.
Yeah, to turn that person into an independent functioning adult.
And if you want a 55-year-old child living in your house in the basement, if that's what you'd prefer, that's awesome and great for you. But the job is to grow a human into an independent and self-aware entity outside of yourself, and investing in yourself while you're investing in your child, investing in your health, investing in your relationships, investing in your community matters, because once that little kid is out of the house, there's more life to live. There's parties to have.
Well, and years ago, before we were even remotely going down this particular weight loss path, Catherine moved to California to be with me and moved in with me, and then soon after discovered that I work a lot of hours. And, I don't want to tell your story for you, but, you were very upset that you were all alone for all these hours, and then what happened?
I ate food and cried. No, but
No, what? How did it get better, though?
Well, I remember going to...
Ate food and cried.
I did, but I felt sorry for myself. You bring up a great point. I'm very glad that you're explaining my story. I went to a therapist and cried a little bit and was boo-hooing about my past, and she said... So, what do you like to do? I was like, that's none of your business. I like to complain about things I can't control.
I like to eat in silence and cry.
Well, keep that up. She suggested, which I thought was kind of rude, why don't you invest in yourself by taking
How dare she?
classes and finding interests outside of your husband that you could do on your own
And you
without
said,
him.
I don't care to have any interests outside of my husband.
I said, good day, sir.
My husband is the only interest I care to have.
I am a puppy sitting at the door waiting for him to come home.
That's a terrible, terrible thing.
No, but it
makes me very sad.
It was a really rude epiphany to be invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So she's...
Sometimes, when you hear the truth, it's very upsetting.
I wanted her to give me an award for the most put upon sad life in the world.
And probably deep down, you wanted an excuse to eat a lot of food.
I did, and cry.
Yeah.
Big Kleenex wants me to cry. But she just said, what do you like to do? What have you ever liked to do? And I said, well, I don't know. I like art and drawing. She's like, why don't you take a community college class?
Yeah.
What else? Well, I like yoga. Why don't you take a yoga class? Oh, okay. So don't just cry and be sad and be a victim. And guess what? Took an art class. It was great. Took another art class. Made friends.
And now she hopes I never come home from work.
No, but that... investing in other parts, I took an improv comedy class, met people there, oh, there is a world outside of the house. I am not going to make friends sitting in the house not doing anything. This was before the interweb.
Yeah.
But finding interests outside of Donald was one of the best choices I ever made in my life, because I got into photography, met my best friend.
Finding interests outside of me is one of the best choices anyone can make, truly.
But putting all of that pressure, putting all of my eggs in the Donald basket was not healthy. It wasn't healthy for our relationship. It wasn't healthy for myself. I needed to invest in myself to bring back more into our relationship. But the same thing, if your best friend leaves town, investing in other relationships, in in volunteering, in taking a class, in joining a book club. There are also meetups. We've talked about this before. There are so many ways to not just hang on to one happiness. In your work life, I worked with a woman at one point, had been with the company for so long, she named her cat the name of the company.
Oh my God, that breaks my heart.
Named her cat the name of the company. After 24, 25 years of service, she unfortunately was part of the downsizing of the company. Still had a cat with the name of the company.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Like, it was absolutely awful. But all of her happiness and joy was based on her work life. And she had no fellowship outside of the company. She then went on to join her local church group and join some other organizations and has gone on to other things. But the idea that your job is all you have is dangerous because you can be replaced at any time. Please don't name your cat.
Yeah, I mean, look,
company.
we keep saying it in different ways, but putting your eggs in one basket, with weight loss is not the smart move. Having backup plans and having alternate ways, or when confronted with adversity, coming up with a new plan rather than just giving up is really the bottom line here.
Yeah, and even in investing, there are people who say, "Oh, you should have invested in Amazon 20 years ago or whatever." With a 401k, you have a diverse portfolio in which a company, a mutual company, diversifies your assets into many different companies. So you fluctuate with the market, but it's not like if Amazon goes down or if, I don't know, what's some 80s product that, I don't know, swatches or something. like, oh no, Swatch stock is down. Like if all of your money is in Swatch,
Radio Shack.
There we go.
Yeah, it took me a minute to think of something.
Something from the 80s. But being able to diversify your interests makes sure that you're not going to lose everything if one thing goes away. So in your work life, join a networking group. I know Don is a part for his industry. He's in a couple of community support groups.
For feature film and television production coordinators, there are a couple of Google groups where people can, look for jobs and talk to each other about problems they're having and come up with solutions. In
Los Angeles, in particular, there are networking groups for women. There's Toastmasters if you want to join an organization of other people working on themselves. Alumni groups for colleges. But joining local organizations for interest groups that you're in. I know Donald does not like LinkedIn for networking, but making sure that you're getting your name out there, that other people know who you are is really important.
I just don't like the number of emails that LinkedIn decide to send me all the time.
Yeah, I want to be able to miss somebody. I want to be like, what's up with LinkedIn right now? I don't know. Don't send me 5 emails a day. But then going back to like investing in yourself, work on a side hustle. Like, what do you do outside of your work or outside of your family that you're good at? Could you teach piano? Could you teach crocheting? Could you babysit? Could you walk dogs? Finding a way to make some side hustle money is a great idea. Learn an instrument. Do a continuing education class in your industry.
Yeah, chances are there is something you've always wanted to do that you've always wanted to dedicate some time to learn, to collect, to study, something.
Yeah. Volunteer for a cause that matters to you in your community. If you don't like it, you can stop. It doesn't have to be a forever thing, but the more people that you know, the more diverse your interests, the easier landing you'll have. And finally, make a list of what you can do, what you are good at. We underplay what we're good at sometimes. Like we forget because I was very good at walking. I'm currently not good at walking.
No.
But making a list, doing the MacGyver thing of looking around you and seeing what you are good at. Well, you know what? I can speak 2 languages and I used to teach, swim lessons, or I used to coach soccer teams. Regarding my actual body, like my left foot isn't good right now, but darn it if my right foot isn't. I've got good knees, I've got good elbows, I've got strong hands, I've got a strong core, and I started doing the Blogilates workouts like a month ago. If I hadn't already had that in place and I was injured yesterday, I would have felt much more sorry for myself because I'd be like, well, now what am I going to do? Like, I can't, now we're going to end the podcast because I can't be fit anymore. It's like I'm in a growth mindset where I'm thinking, what can I do? You know what? If all I can do is like 1,000 push-ups now because I can't use my foot, then I'm going to get yoked and I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups. So being a champion of what you can do, what resources you do have, what family members you can support, what local community college classes there are, building up that list to support you and start putting it in place now before you need it. Not when your kid leaves the house and then figuring out what you can do. Not when you lose your job and then figure out what you should do. Start investing now to create that safety net for yourself.
And we've talked about diversifying your food program too. And, if you are somebody who cooks all the time, but then suddenly can't for lack of time or something comes up, like make sure you have a backup plan with some easy, whether it's something you can just go grab that's pre-made at the grocery store, like already have it in mind, or whether it's frozen meals, that you can just quickly pop in a microwave, like have a backup plan, have some diversity in your food plan too, so that you're not just completely stuck with, oh, well, I guess I better order takeout.
Well, and too, I know like my fitness pal was out last week and people were like, I just started my weight loss adventure and now my fitness pal is down. Screw my life. Like, I'm like, there's like paper. You could just use paper and write stuff down. Like when we think that if my fitness pal is down or our gym is closed for the day and that means it's the end of days, like let's not dramatize things. We have other resources. And with me not being able to walk right now, like we've got some travel coming up soon. Groceries do delivery services. I can have groceries brought in. It's not optimal, but it can be done. If I can't, do housework around the house, we could hire a day service of like a cleaning company to come in and do some things. Like we have resources. We have, we are smart people. We can get things done, and we
like to think we're smart people. Anyway.
Yeah, but we have resources outside of ourselves, and using those resources is really important. So think about ways in your life that you might need an extra boost of support. What resources do you have? What have you been putting off? For, you know what, I'll figure that out in a couple of years. What small thing could you start researching or developing? What club could you join? What class could you take? Even if you don't start taking the class, just saying, you know what, I'm going to reach out to the community college. Oh, look, they've got, programs on how to use Excel. Yeah. That would be a good thing for me to learn how to do at some point.
Diversify your weight loss and fitness plan now before you're forced to do it.
Right. The big thing that I have learned since 2016, when I started this weight loss journey, is that in the past, I was a victim of my life. I was a victim of limited resources, limited time, a job that asked too much of me, parenthood that took too much out of me, Dawn worked too much. Everything else was out of my control. And I was definitely a passenger in my life. And in 2016, when I started losing weight and started listening to weight loss podcasts, I started learning about how I needed to advocate for myself. I joined a weight loss support group, and I didn't even think I needed it. I kind of joined it on a whim. And I had no idea how much I needed support and how valuable it would be to me. I identify as an obliger, which means I look for outward accountability to help keep me on track. But the biggest thing it did for me was it gave me a safe place to share candidly about the hard parts of my life, the shameful things that I felt, the challenges that I had with family, the challenges that I had at work, and the limiting mindset that I had about the role that I played in my own life. And having a community of people to support me, not just on my weight loss, but on my overall mindset in life. I had no idea that I was an emotional eater until I joined, I started listening to podcasts and joined a weight loss support group and realized that other people went through it too. and that other people came out of it because they too were part of a support group.
And that, that decision to join that group and the knowledge that you learned there and the experience of the other people, it changed both our lives. I mean, when I got the diabetes diagnosis, I just thought everything was over. And you were already at a point where you were learning from other people, and you were able to, rather than just sort of preach to me like I may not have listened, you were able to say, hey, I learned from this person or that person that perhaps you should, try this. Why not just take a walk? Like, how about, there is no finish line? Like, all of these things that were picked up along the way, it changed both our lives.
Well, and sitting in the house with my own limited experience wasn't helping me. I knew I needed voices other than my own helping me in my journey. And joining a weight loss support group changed my life. It expanded my friendship circle, it expanded my scope, and it gave me a growth mindset. And it's not just about the weight, because so many parts of our lives, everything, our family, our fitness, our friendship, our femur for some reason.
All the Fs.
All of the Fs. Many Fs given. All
Foot
of it.
basket.
I regret ever having said that. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I regret it too.
When you shine the cold mirror light on it, it is not a good thing. But if someone says, well, this isn't weight loss related, but everything is weight loss related, because I used food as my comfort for so many years. And now I use the fellowship of others.
I used everything else in my life as an excuse to eat food and to not exercise. And, it got me to a diabetes diagnosis and, an unmanageable, unsustainable weight.
It did. So we're giving a subtle lean into the product of the week again. I'm not even going to say POW. I'm not even going to say it. There's no reason to say it.
No reason to say POW.
I'm keeping it. Nope, we're not going to say POW. But we, on August 1st, started a weight loss accountability and support group called We Only Look Thin, WOLT, W-O-L-T.
W-O-L-T stands for We Only Look Thin.
Yeah, WOLT Place, the place to be who you are today while working on the you that you want to be. We've been doing small, free accountability groups for the last 18 months. And now we've turned WOLT Place into a permanent subscription-based accountability group for women. And it is a place, and like I said, we've been doing it for 18 months, and now officially it's becoming WOLT Place. It is a place to be honest, to be supported. It's not a weight loss plan. It's not a diet plan. But what it is a place to be supported in a small, intimate group away from the other prying eyes on Facebook, your friends or your coworkers or colleagues.
It's a private Facebook group where you can really be yourself.
Yeah. We do accountability check-ins. We do habit challenges. We ask real questions about real life. And for all of those times that you have those moments where you go, well, this isn't weight loss related, but there is someone there to answer your question, to support you, to say that they've been there too. If I just relied on me for all of my own answers, that's a limiting world. Just the four walls around me.
Yeah, for sure. But if I had just relied on what knowledge I had and what was in my head before starting down this, there is no chance I would have lost 100 pounds. And part of the diversifying that we've been talking about this whole episode is having resources for other people like, hey, I can't eat this particular product right now, or I just found out that I'm allergic to this. Like, there is somebody else out there who's gone through the same thing and will have some advice.
Yeah. So WOLT Place is a small community of women supporting one another, giving ideas, tips, tricks, products of the week, and just being other voices to help you through your journey. I can't tell you how many times someone has had a problem that doesn't seem like a weight loss issue, and someone else has chimed in and said, you know what, I've had that issue, and if you need additional resources, send me a private message and I'll hook you up with a local counselor or a local service. It's an amazing group of women, and we would love for you to join if you're a woman. Sorry, guys. Guys pay twice the price. No, they don't. Guys just don't participate. So it's going to be women only.
Yeah, like they do those ladies' nights where ladies get in free and then the guys pay triple.
Yeah. But join our support group. If you go to weonlylookthin.com and click on the icon, join our support group. You can find out more. We have a couple of different pricing levels for members.
Just under the photos, the before and after photos of Catherine and I that are on the homepage, there's a link that says join our support group. And there's more information about it along with pricing and where to sign up and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And it is worth the investment. I promise you. I could give you a million analogies about how many sticks of chewing gum you could buy a month for how much the group costs. I don't like being sold things. I avoid perfume counters. I avoid direct eye contact with anyone trying to sell a timeshare. So I won't do that. But check out our site. Check out the description of the group and give it a try. Give it a try. It's been so rewarding to create a safe space, a little cul-de-sac on the internet for people to support one another. So we would love for you to join us, and that is the product of the week.
Why are we talking like that?
Because I want to say pow!
Pow, everybody!
You didn't think you were going to get a pow, and you got a pow.
No, you got a pow, and we didn't even charge extra for it.
Nope. So thank you for listening to this powerful episode of We Only Look Thin.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See what I did there? Everybody sees.
Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. You can subscribe to us wherever you found this podcast, and we're on Stitcher and Spotify and all that good stuff. And you can listen to us at our website at weonlylookthin.com.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at We Only Look Thin.
And if you would do us a favor, and please, if you got something out of this, please tell somebody that you know who might like this, might like our content, our brand of shenanigans, to give us a listen. We would really appreciate it. And if you have a minute to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, that also helps us out quite a bit.
Should we start reading some of the reviews that we get? I'm not actually going to do it right now, but should we start doing that? I always love it's like a romper room situation. Like if my name has come up on another podcast, I'm like, wait, that's my name.
Was it Romper Room they did that on, or Zoom?
Romper Room, they had the Romper, Domper, Stomper, Do. Tell me who. And then they had like the little wand, and she would look through and be like, I see Tabitha and Christina. And they never said Catherine. I'm still mad about it 40 years later.
Which is weird because that's a pretty common name.
Yeah, they said like Kathleen. I'm not a Kathleen. Yeah. Sorry, Kathleen. Kathleen, if you're listening, what's up? How you doing? Join Roll Place. So again, thank you so much for listening today.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And whether you're about to jump into this weight loss adventure with both feet or just one foot or no feet, or whether you're just going to use your foot basket, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration nation. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.